Okay, so welcome everybody. My name is Letty Algieri. I am a certified holistic health coach, and I am here to really talk to you guys about cravings and demystifying cravings, because we all have cravings, but the question is why and how can we prevent them or avoid them or control them, right? So if you are watching live, I had mentioned before we started, feel free to use the chat button to ask questions, and I will absolutely reach out to you at the end and answer your questions. If you need to leave early, I will have some free resources at the end. So please, in the chat, put your email address if you'd like me to reach out to you with those resources. If you're watching the recording, you can access me, and you can reach me at lettyalgieri.com, and that is my website. So LETYALGERI.com, lettyalgieri.com. Go there, and there's a contact page, and you can email me. If you know me and want to Facebook stalk me, go for it. That works too. But I want to make sure that I get to everyone who has any questions so that I can reach out to them. So I am going to share my screen with you. Welcome to everybody who's joining us. And we are just going to jump right in. What do you think of that? Let's get started. So as I mentioned, my name is Letty Algieri. There is my website, and we are going to be talking about demystifying your cravings. Let me put this in speaker view so everybody can see. I don't know why it's not working. Okay, that's all right. So demystifying cravings. Let's kick it. Doesn't that donut look delicious though? It really does. Let's kick it off with talking a little bit about what's going on in our world today, because things are a little bit different than they used to be. Our environmental toxins are totally increasing, whether it's from the water or the ground or the air or the things that we put on our body or over-the-counter drugs, skin, hair products. All of those things are flooding our bodies with some toxins. And so think about what's happening to our body in that aspect. If we're thinking of life as a balance, we're kind of throwing it off balance, right, into the negative way because we have so many toxins in our life. And then our food quality is decreasing. So what happens is a lot of negative toxins or things that are not serving us get balanced out when we flood our body with the right food and the right nutrients, right? Nature knows what it's doing. But what happens is a lot of the times lately, our food quality is decreasing. So we're kind of feeling off balanced. So there's a lot of things we could do to be healthy and kind of put things into balance. You've heard all of these, right? Add more exercise, sleep, manage stress, water, use clean products, and eat real food. And those are all really valid things for another lecture. Today, we're going to specifically talk about cravings. But what I wanted you to understand was that our bodies are out of whack. They're not balanced. And so when we're not balanced, what happens is what we choose to put in our body, what we're craving, changes a little bit as well, right? So let's dive right in and let me know if this is you, and feel free to use the chat button and kind of interact with me with thumbs up through the Zoom screen. Did you ever start your day with the best intentions? You're like, yes, I'm going to drink my water. I'm going to have my great protein shake, and I'm going vegan today, right? And you have the best intentions. And then somewhere throughout the day before you go to bed, you're like, oh, and the cookies. Or you bring up something in your life that's not exactly what your intentions were, right? Your cravings get the best of you. And then you're like, oh my gosh, I was so bad. And then you feel bad about yourself. And then what happens? You start to food shame yourself. Please, you guys, I'm going to ask you with all of my heart, as a health coach, as a woman, as a human being, don't say, this is what I would hear all the time, I was good all day and then I was bad. Don't say that you were bad. You just had a craving or you made a choice to eat something. It doesn't mean that you are a bad person or that you did anything bad. So please, please stop food shaming yourself, because I hate that people work so hard and instead of focusing on all the good, they focus on the bad. And that's not going to get you anywhere. That's going to make you feel bad about yourself, and it's going to make you want to eat more junky food. And then that's going to make you feel bad about yourself. And you're going to go into this big cycle. So your body is talking to you when you have a craving. Your body is literally talking to you. The question is, are you listening to it? Because sometimes your body's saying, I'm really thirsty. And you hear, oh, potato chips? Okay, I'll give you potato chips. That's not what your body's saying, even though it is what you are hearing, right? So there's a lot of reasons for cravings, but today we're going to focus on these specific 5, which I feel like are the most common. So 1 is being dehydrated. 2 is lack of energy, being nutritionally deficient, being emotional, and having blood sugar instability, meaning it's going up and down. So we're going to dive right in and talk about each one of them. So with dehydration, I'm sure you've all heard, drink a lot of water. It's really good for you, blah, 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 right? The whole thing. Did you know that when you are dehydrated, your body has a hard time accessing energy stores? It's true. So when that happens, your body says to you, I need energy. And what's the quickest way to get energy? Sugar. Sugar just gets right into your body super quick, and it is the fastest way for you to get a boost of energy. Is it the best? No. But is it the fastest? Yes. So think about when you are craving sugar and your body's asking for chocolate or for cookies or for candy, ask yourself, did I drink enough today? Am I dehydrated? And most of the time, we do not drink as much as we should. And so people will often say to me, well, how much should I drink? And my answer to that, I know that like the answer out there is half your body weight in ounces, right? So if you weigh 200 pounds, 100 ounces. If you weigh 150 pounds, 75 ounces. See that math? I divided 150 in half so quick. So that's fine. You can go with that. Personally, I lose track. I have no idea how many ounces I drank. I walk around with a water bottle. I fill it. Sometimes it's half full. Sometimes it's full. I don't keep track. So what I do is, and I know this sounds funny, but I check my urine. When I go to the bathroom, if my urine is light yellow or clear, I feel like I'm good. If my urine is yellow, no good, right? That's when I know, okay, I need to drink more water. And it's funny, I see people drinking water now, and it makes me thirsty too, every time I talk about water. So my first tip is drink with a straw. Here it is, a straw. I happen to love that. Why? I don't know why, I just do. And I use a metal straw or a glass straw. And I have a friend who owns a glass straw company who's incredible. So if you want to know where to get amazing glass straws, let me know in the chat and I will get back to you. I feel like I drink more and quicker when I have a straw. It just goes down so smoothly. And I can make it ice cold and not get the ice on my teeth, and it just works for me. The other thing is I do a lot of drinking and driving, not how you expect it to, but when I jump into the car, the first thing I do is I make sure I have my water. I always, to the point where now I am so trained like Pavlov's dogs. I get into the car, put my seatbelt on, and I'm thirsty. Like I train myself to be thirsty when I drive. And so what I tend to do is bring a large water bottle that looks like this. It's 40 ounces of water. It's stainless steel, which is a metal bottle, which is another tip. Why? Because I can put a few ice cubes in it and it will stay cold all day, even if my car is 100 degrees. I don't know how it works. It just does. So I have that with me and I drink it as I am driving. And by the time I get somewhere, I'm like, oh my gosh, I just drank like half of this. I didn't even notice. So think about not leaving your house without a water bottle. And I do love the metal bottles. They're eco-friendly, right? You reuse them and reuse them and reuse them. They keep your water nice and cold. Or even if you want to keep, if you're more of like a warm or lukewarm water, it'll stay whatever temperature you put it in there, right? The other tip is every time you go to the bathroom, every time you go pee, remind yourself to drink more water. Because what's going to happen? You're going to go to the bathroom, you're going to drink water. It's going to make you go to the bathroom again. It's going to make you drink water again. And you're going to create this great cycle of adding as much water as possible. Being more active is really important too, because if you are out and about and active, you're going to get thirstier because you're moving. And the thirstier you are, the more you're going to drink, as opposed to kind of having more of a sedentary life, just sitting around watching TV. You really don't build up a thirst for that. And the other thing is reduce non-water drinks. So if you are drinking a lot of iced tea, or you are drinking a lot of, I don't know, lemonades or other different things, you're not going to be thirsty, but your body's still not getting the right amount of water. So let's try to eliminate or lower that a little bit, reduce that, so that then when you are thirsty, you are going towards the water. But that's a really important tip, is to make sure you're hydrated. So when you're craving anything, ask yourself, did I drink enough water today? Okay. All right. The other thing, which to me is one of the biggest, is energy. When your body is craving food, sugar specifically, like we talked about before, it is often because you're tired and you need energy. And when you're like, for example, there's times where I'll stay up later than I should because I just want to get something done. I want peace and quiet in my house. I want to focus and get some work done. And as soon as it hits like 11 o'clock, I'm like, where's the chocolate? Where's the chocolate? I need it. And then I always say to myself, Letty, seriously, you don't need chocolate. You are tired. And so being tired makes me, oh, I went too far. Sorry. Now I'm all over the place. Hold on, you guys. 1 second. We're going back. Okay. It makes me crave the wrong things because it's a quick boost of energy. So think about it this way. When we're going to talk a lot about things rising and falling, right? So if I'm crashing and I'm like, oh, I'm so tired, or the quickest way for me to shoot up is by adding sugar. And sugar comes in lots of forms. It comes in carbs. It comes in candy. It comes in chocolate. It comes in a whole bunch of different forms, right? So I skyrocket. But what happens when I'm up? What goes up must come down. And a little bit later today, we're going to talk about a zone of willpower and how you want to stay in the middle. And we'll talk about that in a second. But think about that as you're craving your sugars. Ask, like, did I sleep enough today? Am I tired? Did I eat enough, right? There's a few ways to get more energy. Adding nutrient-dense foods, and we're going to specifically talk about nutrient-dense foods in just a second. Sleep is number one. Obviously, if you're tired, sleep, you guys. Like, that is the most obvious. Listen to your body. It is talking to you, right? Now, nutrient-dense foods and sleep are going to give you the most clean, best energy that you can have. But in the meantime, sometimes at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, you can't just go to sleep, right? I'm very aware of that. So what are some of the other things that you can do? Try exercising. And I know that sounds counterproductive, but when you exercise, you do, even though you're giving off a lot of energy, you're producing a lot of energy and will give you a nice boost. I know for me, I can't work out in the evening because then I'm up all night because it gives me so much energy. Essential oils like peppermint like a stronger oil is nice to kind of keep you alert and wake you up. I know when my kids are studying, sometimes I'm like, use a little peppermint. It makes you sharp. It makes you awake. It makes you focused. So that's great. Deep breathing exercises are good too. And I'm giving you these examples for if you're sitting at your desk at work or you're somewhere where you can't go take a nap, right? To try to get you through the day. There's so many different types of deep breathing exercises. Some of them are to relax you and to calm you down, but some are a little bit higher paced and they're to re-energize and re-oxygenate your brain. So you can easily do a quick Google search of like, what's a good breathing exercise for energy? And so many different things will come up. The other thing is to avoid caffeine when you're tired. I know that sounds crazy, but remember we talked about what goes up must come down all the time, right? So you're down and you're going to have caffeine and you're going to spike your energy. But then when it's actually time to go to bed, you're going to be wired. Even if you have caffeine a few hours before, it still stays in your system and you're not going to get a good night's rest. So the best thing to do is just kind of suck it up, get through that day, right? Do the best that you can with all these other tips, and then go to bed early so that you can start your next day refreshed. But again, when you feel like you're craving sugar specifically, ask yourself, did I drink enough water? Am I tired? And here's why I ask you to ask yourself these questions. Here's the most important thing. If you get nothing else out of this whole talk, but this is what I want you to know. When you crave things, it's your body's way of talking to you, right? I said that like 5 times. I want you to think about who's in charge, you or your cravings. And you want to be in charge, obviously, otherwise you wouldn't be here listening. So if you can figure out where the cravings are coming from, you can solve the problem. If you can figure out, wow, I'm craving salt all the time, you can say, maybe it's because I'm thirsty. Maybe that's why. Because also when you crave salt, it makes you thirsty. It makes you drink, right? So it's your body's way of saying like, hey, I need more water, so eat more salt so that then you give me more water. So think about where your cravings are coming from so that you can control them. And that to me is the biggest key of all. Okay. Being nutritionally deficient is so ridiculously common, you're not even going to believe it. Did you guys know that you're supposed to eat an average of 7 to 13 fruits and vegetables every single day? Fist size, adults and kids. Kids have little fists, adults have bigger fists. 7 to 13 different fruits and vegetables a day. Do you guys do that? Most people don't. I know that I have a hard time with that myself. So not only do we need to eat so much, but take a look at this. In 1953, one bunch of spinach had the equivalent nutritional value, which means was as nutritionally dense as in 1997, 53 bunches. And 1997, even though it doesn't seem like that long ago, was 23 years ago. So I'm sure it's even more than that now. So in 1950, one bunch of spinach is equivalent. Now you'd have to eat 53 to get the same nutrition, right? So think about what is happening to our food and how much more we need to consume in order to have those nutrients. Now, here's why when you crave, you could be nutritionally deficient when you're craving food. Your belly may be full, like you could have had like a whole thing of popcorn or had a burrito or whatever you ate and you're full, but your cells are not. Your cells inside your body need certain nutrients to function properly. And when they don't get that, they're going to say to you, I'm hungry. I'm hungry. I want to eat this. I want to eat that. And keep asking your body, keep giving you cravings so that you eat this stuff so that hopefully something that you eat will give your cells the nutrients to do what they need to do, right? Well, guess what? Most of the things we crave are not going to do that for us. It's not going to be nutritionally deficient. It's not going to be nutritionally dense. I'm sorry. So here's what I want you to think about. Eating more dense foods, things that have like a high punch value, like kale, like chia seeds, like spinach, things that you know are going to really fuel your body with little bits. Eating as much of a rainbow as you possibly can. So make sure you're trying to hit Roy G. Biv every day, as many colors as you can. Sneak it in sometimes if you have to, right? Like even for you or for your kids. I know I'll make meatballs, I throw spinach in there. I used to throw watercress in there. You can make soup. You can blend up a whole bunch of vegetables and throw that into soup. Like basic things that we've all been doing for years, right? As many as you can get in, just bring them in. New recipes, try something new with new veggies. I'm gonna, one of the things that I wanted to share with you is a great recipe. So we'll talk about that in a second. Avoid filling up on nutrient lacking foods. Here's what happens. When you decide to eat a cheeseburger, let's say, and listen, I love myself a good cheeseburger. I'm not an anti-cheeseburger person, but when you fill yourself on a greasy cheeseburger and fries, let's say, 2 things are happening. 1, you're not putting that nutrient dense food into your body. And two, you're filling up your belly so that now you're not hungry to add the nutrient dense foods. So it's kind of like a double negative, if that makes sense, right? But not like a double negative turns into a positive, like just two negatives. So again, you're filling up on something that's not serving your body, and now you're so full that you can't eat things to fill your body, to fill your belly. And then I have an absolute amazing secret weapon to help you get more nutrient dense foods. And I'll share that with you in a second. But here's an example of a nutrient dense food. 2 tablespoons of chia seeds contains more potassium than a banana, more antioxidants than blueberries, more than 40% of your daily fiber, 5 times more calcium than milk, 100% more omega-3 than salmon, more iron than spinach, 20% of your protein intake, and 32% of your magnesium. Now, personally, I'm not somebody who memorizes how much magnesium and potassium and protein are in things. That just doesn't serve me. But I know that if I eat from nature as much as possible, and I know that if I am careful to learn about those dense foods, nutrient dense foods, I can change my health. So how easy is it to add 2 tablespoons of chia seeds into your day? Pretty easy. You can add them into a smoothie, or you can make chia seed pudding. And I have a great chia seed pudding recipe. So again, if you're interested in that recipe, put your email address in the chat and I will be happy to send it to you. And again, if you're watching the recording, just go to my website and you can contact me through there. All right, isn't that cool? I mean, 2 tablespoons of chia seeds, all that stuff. Who's going to buy chia seeds now? Who's going to go eat them? Everybody's ready, right? Okay. Here is my secret weapon that I absolutely love, 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 you guys. I found a company that found a way to get 30 raw, vine-ripened fruits, veggies, and berries into a capsule or a gummy form, and I'm not lying about that. I've been taking this product for almost 6 years. I have shared it with all of my health coaching clients and have seen tremendous results. Why? Because when you eat a rainbow of colors, when you eat from nature the way we're supposed to, your body does amazing things. Your immune system gets balanced. Your inflammation goes down. Your mind gets sharper. Like everything that your body needs, it's almost as if you had this beautiful Maserati. And instead of putting like premium gasoline in it, you put soda, right? You can't run on soda. It needs premium gasoline. Our bodies don't run on junk. Our bodies run on fruits, veggies, and berries and grains. And this is the easiest way to flood your body with all of them. It bridges the gap from what you should be eating to what you are eating. So if you have any questions or any thoughts and want to learn more about this, just let me know at the end, or again, reach out to me and we will chat more about it. Okay. Anybody an emotional eater here? Anybody ever eat because of that? Okay. I see some hands. Yep. I think it's very, very common. So here's what you need to do. When the hardest part, in my opinion, is identifying that you're having a craving. Identifying like, okay, yes, I'm craving something and why. That's the first thing you need to do. Same thing with your emotional eating. Identify that you're having an emotion. Are you feeling sad? Are you happy? Are you lonely, misunderstood, unfulfilled, angry, overwhelmed, disappointed, scared? A, am I feeling something and is that why I'm eating? And B, what am I feeling? And then ask yourself, okay, fine. So now I realize that I'm feeling unfulfilled. Great. Is this pint of ice cream gonna fix me? And then ask yourself, here's the thing I always like to ask myself when I go out to dinner, when I'm trying to take care of my body, how am I gonna feel after I eat this? If I'm gonna feel great and it's a good decision, go for it. But if you think about not how you feel now in the moment and what you're craving and what you want, but you think about how you're gonna feel when you're done eating it, that's the answer of whether it's a good choice to eat it or not. And then ask yourself, okay, well, if I'm not going to feel great after I eat it and food's probably not going to fix this, what will help me through this? Emotional eating is very common. And people, I think, get into a cycle and they're like, okay, I'm upset, I'm just going to eat this. And then you're done eating and then you feel guilt and then you feel shame and you feel upset. We don't want to do that. We want you to have a really good relationship with food. I want you to eat food because it's healthy, and I want you to eat food because it tastes good and because you love it. And if that means eating ice cream, then eat your ice cream, but enjoy it. Don't feel guilty about it. There's a big, big difference there. So here are some of the things that you can do if you find that you are an emotional eater. And that's your trigger. Like, why am I craving ice cream right now? Because I'm sad, right? That's what you have to think about, because I'm upset. I'm a big believer in breathing too, meditation, journaling, and kind of figuring out what it is that you're upset about. It's nice. It's almost like having a conversation with a therapist for free with yourself, and nobody's judging you, and you just journal and write it all out. There's something called a release method, and I learned it from Brendan Bouchard. He's really an inspirational speaker and talks about a lot of different things. And I'm just recently reading his book, and he says that when he needs to shift from thing to thing, whether it's activity to activity or thought process, he literally does the simplest thing. He closes his eyes. He says he does it for 20 minutes. I think you need like 3 minutes, but you do what works for you. And he closes his eyes and he literally just says like, release, release, release. And I know it sounds crazy, but I've been trying it and it makes a huge difference. It just changes your mindset, whether it's because you're focused on the words or you're taking deep breaths in the process, or it kind of just like shuts down the loop that you're playing in your head and it makes you start over. You're like releasing what's in your body and moving on to the next thing, you know? Exercise is huge. Kind of facing what's going on. Maybe you're anxious because you need to discuss something with someone, and instead of going for it, you're going to go and eat your chocolate or your ice cream or your chips, right? Talking to someone, of course. But my favorite thing is do something that fills you up. If you're in a situation that you're not feeling great about, pick up, walk away, go do something that fills you up. For me, it's nature. So I would go take a walk on the beach, go in the woods. Now you've taken yourself out of that situation and doing something that is going to serve you, as opposed to eating foods that are not going to serve you. All right. So let's talk about blood sugar, because this is so important. And of course, there are people that are diabetic who truly have unstable blood sugar from a medical perspective. I'm not talking about that today. I'm talking about the average person whose blood sugar is just bouncing all over the place, okay? The quickest way to spike your blood sugar is with low glycemic foods. What does that mean? That means foods that get absorbed by the bloodstream super, super quickly. Sugary foods and processed foods are number one with that, right? So what's going to happen is your blood sugar is going to spike, but then it's going to crash. And we're going to talk about that in a second in the next slide. So the other thing is, so avoid those things, eat consistently. And I don't mean that you need to eat every 2 to 3 hours. That might be what you need, but eat consistently. Don't go like one day eating every 4 hours and then the next day only eating one meal. And then the next day eating every 2 hours and then 2 days later eating, like breakfast at 7 and then not eating again till 8 o'clock at night. Because then your body's all over the place and doesn't know what to expect. And when it's crashing, it's asking for energy. It's asking for sugar. So that's why you're craving that. Flooding your body with good stuff, like the good stuff we talked about before, the fruits, the veggies, the berries, the beans, all of that is going to keep you nice and stable. Exercising absolutely balances your blood sugar. As much fiber as you can, and drinking water. I know water keeps coming up because it's a big one. But this is the slide I really want you to look at. It really changed my perspective on so much when I first saw it. Look at that yellow zone here in the middle, that zone of willpower. You guys, I didn't know this. And when I learned it, it blew my mind. When you eat something sugary or something caffeinated, you're going to be on this blue line. You're going to go up, 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 right? And what did we say? What goes up must come down. When you are outside of this zone of willpower, it's almost as if your body is taking control of your brain and telling you, you need to eat something and it's usually not, that's where your cravings kick in and you can't control them. And many times people feel bad about them. Like, what did we say at the beginning? I was good all day and then I was bad and now I'm shaming myself and I feel so bad about myself. It's literally not your fault. It's literally that you're out of the zone of willpower. So if we could talk about adding the water, adding the sleep, doing all those things that we talked about earlier, you're going to stay more in the zone of willpower when we avoid the sugary, carby foods. And then you're going to be able to control your cravings so much more. So I don't know if this makes a difference to you, but it totally blew me away. So again, when I'm spiking high, I can't control myself. And when I'm crashing, same thing, I'm out of that will zone power. So we see this black line. We want to eat things that are going to keep us in here. And what keeps us in here is low glycemic foods, foods that do not spike your blood sugar. I keep saying this, right? Things like complex carbs, like brown rice, whole grain meals, fruits, veggies, grains, beans, olives, things like that with lots of fiber, because it takes a long time for that sugar to absorb into your body. It takes all this time for 0 hours all the way to 3 hours, right? As opposed to some sugary foods are going to take like 20 minutes. And that's the beauty of low glycemic food. We stay in the zone of willpower. Now, one of the things that I have found that has worked incredibly well for me and for my clients is doing a program we call the Shred 10. And the Shred 10 is not about shredding 10 pounds, but shredding bad habits for 10 days. And so what happens is that when we eliminate those habits, and we can talk more about that if you're interested, you end up detoxifying your body. And when you do that, if you look at this top picture up here, when you diet, all you're doing is losing calories. And so you're maybe burning fat, but all these little black dots, those are impurities and those are toxins. And then as soon as you have a chance, they don't disappear when you're dieting. They're there. You just lose the fat. The second that you have the chance to put that fat back on, you will. And do you know why? Because when you have a toxin in your body's like, oh, I don't want this near my organs or near my vital parts of my body. I'm going to surround it in fat. I'm going to wrap it up in fat to protect my body. So you may get rid of that fat, but the toxin is still there. So the second that your body has the opportunity to put that fat back on, it does. And your body starts to crave different things to keep you balanced and protected, because trying to protect your body from those toxins. When you do a true cleanse, you are literally not only shedding fat, but you're shedding all the impurities, all those toxins. And you see our little guy here, he only has a handful of toxins left. He got rid of so many of them. So here's the beauty of that. When we do this, and when we cleanse our body, and when we follow certain guidelines to flood our body with good and eliminate all those bad habits, like the high sugary foods, the caffeines, all those things that aren't serving us, your cravings start to change. Your cravings start to go more towards what's serving your body, your fruits, your veggies, your grains. Your cravings go again away from all the sweets. So it's a program that I do every month. The first Monday of the month, our next group is forming. We kick off August 3rd. It's an amazing group. If anyone that's with us here has ever done the Shred 10 with us, please talk in the chat. Tell people what your experiences were, because people really find that not only will they lose a few pounds here and there, and everybody's results are different for sure, but one of the big things is changing your cravings, because you're finally balancing things out. So anyway, we do an awesome, fun Facebook group, and I post recipes and motivation and workouts and all these great things all the time. So again, if you want more information on that, just reach out and I'm happy to share. And it's a 10-day thing, and you could do anything for 10 days. I guarantee it. All right, let's recap. What are our reasons for cravings? We talked about being dehydrated, having lack of energy, being nutritionally deficient, being an emotional eater, and having our blood sugar be all over the place, right? Those are the main things. So next time you have a craving for something, I want you to ask yourself a few questions. Super simple. 1, did I drink enough? 2, am I tired? 3, have I eaten enough good food? Am I being emotional or am I having a sugar crash? Those are the 5 things I want you to ask yourself. Feel free to take a picture of the screen and keep it on your phone so that when you feel like you're craving something that's not serving you, you can look at this and go through and ask yourself those questions. Because when you say to yourself, oh, you know what? I just realized I got up at 5 a.m. and it's 10 o'clock. I'm exhausted. No wonder all I want is X, Y, and Z. Then you can say to yourself, you know what? I don't need X, Y, and Z. I need to go to bed, and then make that choice. Oh, or when you're like, you know what? I just realized that I had a candy bar like an hour and a half ago. I must be crashing. I must be having a sugar crash. Instead of having more sugar or more caffeine, what if I just have a salad? Or if I eat some chia seed pudding that Letty's going to give me that great recipe too. What if I do that? Would that change my cravings? Right? Think about that. Or again, I'm craving potato chips. Did I drink enough water today? And when you realize that you didn't, then you could solve the problem without having to eat the foods that you know you don't want to eat. So your body is literally talking to you every day, all day. Your cravings are tapping you on the shoulder saying, hello, hello, I'm talking to you. You just need to understand what your body's saying. It's like 2 totally separate languages, and you need to listen and figure out what your next best step is. So there's a few ways I can help you. I told you I have that great recipe for you. I also run with 2 other health coaches a wellness Facebook group. So if you are looking for more support daily or weekly, just ideas and thoughts and being around a positive mindset with wellness, body and mind, let me know. I also send out a weekly newsletter on tons of different health topics. And of course, we do the Shred 10 every month. So if any of those things would serve you, please just let me know. I am happy to involve you in any single one of them. And if you'd like to connect with me, you can find me on Facebook or you can find me on Instagram. And of course, you can go visit me at my website. I love mail. I love messages. I love getting text and private messages and all of that. So my favorite part of everything I do is you guys. It's the community. It's helping people. It's working with them one-on-one as in groups. So please do not hesitate to reach out. You will make my day, I promise. So with that, I just want to thank you so much for joining us. And I am going to